Hey guys, here we're going to a fun look at Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Jose Luis Castillo, and we're going to be talking about kind of the tactics and what goes on, and just what I see when I'm watching the fight, and we're just going to watch it and hang out, and we'll talk about the Floyd Mayweather Lomachenko stuff at the end. You know, people are always curious about that, but maybe we'll talk about it as the fight goes on, or as things continue to progress through the fight. But let's go ahead and get the fight started. And also, I've also done Shane Mosley versus Floyd Mayweather on my Patreon, and someone sent me a copy of Canelo Alvarez versus Floyd Mayweather that I'll also be doing on Patreon for my $1 subscribers. So come check it out, you guys. I got a lot of content there for all you fight fans and stuff. I'm just beginning to start putting up training tape. The original training videos that I put out were just some really quick, easy drills that you can do to really practice your technique. I know probably nobody understood that you were really supposed to take those drills seriously, do them every day and practice your weight transitions and your head positioning and make sure those body mechanics work. But those are very, very, very valuable drills before we got to, we dive into the real boxing stuff, right? Because before you learn how to fight somebody, you have to learn how to fight, right? And fighting is like being able to throw punches, being able to slip, being able to move around, right? So before you can learn to fight somebody, you have to learn how to fight, right? So think about that idea that your technique is completely separate from the knowledge it takes to fight somebody. Completely separate. You put them together, right? The ideas and why your technique works this way, and you put that together to set traps, right? But it's very, very important to understand that those two ideas are completely separate. But anyway, check out my Patreon. There's a lot of cool stuff there. Done a lot of fights there. So Mayweather's going to come out, and he's going to control the space. And look at immediately once the space starts getting controlled on him, right? Mayweather's like, okay, I don't want him coming in here. I need to control that lead hand. Don't allow him to come into this space. So feint him, right? So use that lead hand. Immediately, Jose Luis Castillo looks to move to position one around that jab, right? Start slipping, right? Moving around. See how he changes positions, right? Feinting him. And look at how Mayweather picks up on this line right here, right? Boom, boom. This jab line right there, right? That's exactly where Jose Luis Castillo is going to land a shot, right? He tests it, and he goes back to that position, right? And Mayweather shows that he's ready. He sees that punch opportunity too, right? Now, I don't always like that Mayweather lets you get onto his line like that, right? Because it does get difficult sometimes to attack him, because here he is defending himself really well, right? Even though his lead hand is really far forward, it's in between his opponent's glove and his face, and his right glove is really close to his forehead, right? So he can catch a shot, right? So it's not like he's out of position, right? But he's also allowing Jose Luis Castillo already to be moving into these positions as well, right? And not challenging him when he does. Because what Jose Luis Castillo essentially wants to do when he's fighting is make one of these slips, right? Regular pace, boom, 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 bah, right? And then fake a shot, right? And then walk Mayweather into another one. So use these motions, right, to set up another weight transition, right? So slip to the outside, right, or slip to the inside here, and then throw a left hook when you come back. Slip down here and come with a right hand when you come back, right? And that's what he's gonna be looking to do to isolate Mayweather's line. And Mayweather's also going to be doing the exact same thing, right? So notice Jose Luis Castillo meets him on the line in this really dominant position, right? His weight very far on the front foot, right? He's in a neutral position, right? Looking to start setting his shots up and do what he was doing here, right? Get onto the outside, get on the inside, right, of Mayweather's line, right? Slipping to the inside, right? Very dangerous position right here for Mayweather to be in because Jose Luis Castillo can throw so many more punches from this position than Mayweather can. So, again, going through these motions, and Mayweather says, okay, I'm going to try to isolate his line, right? So Jose Luis Castillo goes forward, back, back. And then as he's going back, Mayweather looks to challenge him and make a second attack, right? So Jose Luis Castillo has to abandon his position here when he gets jabbed so that he doesn't get hit because he wasn't guarding that position, right? So he has to take a step back and abandon the position. Mayweather sees that he's out of position and looks to attack him again. But because Jose Luis Castillo actually has pretty decent technique, he's able to pull his weight from the back foot to the front foot through a jab in the same motion, right, that Mayweather does here, right? Back foot to the front foot, shooting his jab forward. Now, the mistake that Mayweather makes is he ends his weight on the same side that he just punched at, right? So he's shooting this jab and his head's getting stuck on the front foot, right? So when Jose Luis Castillo comes back with his counter, Mayweather is still there. That's very rare that you see Mayweather make that mistake, right? So I know you guys want to be like, oh, that's not a mistake, or that's this. That's something that be mindful of. You almost never see happen to Mayweather, right? How many hundreds of times have you seen Mayweather throw a right hand and then roll a left hook that doesn't come, right? Slip a right hand that doesn't come, right? He's done it 1,000 times. Because he knows when he's more likely to be hit, and he knows that it's safer to just block a shot, than take the chance that they won't hit him, right? Or that they won't throw it. So just to point that out, right? Even Mayweather makes mistakes. So again, coming forward, Jose Luis Castillo going to the front foot, back foot, right? Front foot, right? And then it transfers weight to the back foot, front foot. And then as he's transferring his weight, Mayweather looks to catch him with that left hook, right? Now that winds up being kind of like the make two punches sound like one, the first shot that gets him into position and then allows him to land the jab. Because again, he knows that Jose Luis Castillo's not explicitly looking to counterpunch with him, right? So when he attacks him, if he's not going to look to counterpunch, he's going to abandon his position, right? So that's what he's doing. He's abandoning his position, and he's going to look to meet him on the line at another time in which he can dictate who goes first, right? But Mayweather sees that, and he's able to be, okay, I'll catch him with the shot on the way back, right? Following him with those shots. Now, Jose Luis Castillo meeting him back on the line, right? Getting back into the rhythm, getting his weight on the front foot, and Mayweather attacking him immediately on the front foot, right? This is going to be a very, very common theme for Mayweather because that's how you fight, right? It's not just because Mayweather is like such a good fighter, right? He is a good fighter. That's why he recognizes this as such a valuable tool, right? But when you are a good fighter, this is what you're looking to do, right? Alienate your opponent from as many positions in boxing as possible, right? That's why they call it boxing. You're boxing your opponent in, right? You're feinting, and you're looking to control his line so that you can alienate his position until you can land basically free punches, right? So that you have such a dominant position over him that he cannot defend himself. Now, usually, you only need to get your opponent in that position for a second, right? Half a second. And then you just knock them out because you hit them with a good shot, right? Or you hit them with a good shot and then you get off the line so you don't get countered, right? But you don't but the problem is you don't have that much control. You don't have control of your opponent for that long, right? And those are the kind of hairs that you're looking to split, right? How long do you need your opponent's head to be in that position? How long do you need them to be there, right? But anyway, where was I going with that? But Mayweather, that's why he's shooting the jabs here, right? Because Castillo's getting on the front foot here, right? Getting on the front foot, right? Leaning back, getting on the front foot, right? But Jose Luis Castillo's actually got pretty decent technique, so he's able to use these pull counters, right, to time Mayweather because Jose Luis Castillo knows those attacks are coming too, right? And again, Castillo getting attacked on the front foot, right? Back, front, right? And Mayweather's looking to set up a timing there so that Jose Luis Castillo will instinctively know not to be there unless he wants Mayweather to throw punches at him, right? And when do you want your opponent throwing punches at you? When you're going to counter them or not at all, right? So either you're going to set a trap for them because you want to counter them, or you're just not going to go to that position anymore, right? That's just how the thought process works, right? So, if you're not going to counter, and Jose Luis Castillo is not a counter puncher, right? That means you have to abandon the position. Now, we'll see what Jose Luis Castillo does, right? He's trying to get on the front foot here, right? Notice how he dances around it, right? Leans a little bit on the front foot, back, a little bit on the front foot, back, a little bit on the front foot, rotate his head around, and Mayweather decides to tag him, right? Catches him on the front foot. But again, he's going to continue to look to alienate that position from him, right? Look, Jose Luis Castillo leaning back and then onto the front foot. And then as soon as Castillo gets his foot down on the front foot, Mayweather looks to attack him, right? Alienate him from that front foot. Because if he can stop him from being on the front foot, he can stop him from throwing left hooks, and he can stop him from shifting his weight into his left foot through the right hand. Right? So if you can take away your opponent's left hook and your opponent's right hand, what punches can they fight you with? Right? Their jab? So anyway, just the idea, right? The thought process that goes through why you're attacking your opponent, right? Why you're hitting them is in what spot. And why you're using the jab, right? Because that position's not open. See how small that line is as Jose Luis Castillo comes forward, right? Their head's right here. When they both, see how Mayweather brings his glove up right here? They're both about to find themselves on the line that Mayweather has established, right? So Mayweather chose this position, and now Jose Luis Castillo either has to make Mayweather move off of that line by feinting and probing, or he's just going to meet him on that line, right? Maybe he can meet him with a feint or a probe or slipping off the line himself, but Mayweather recognizes that he's on the line and he's in danger and immediately gets his right glove up to catch his glove. Now Mayweather has to make the decision, oh, am I going to attack or am I going to counter? Is he going to attack? He has to make that decision, but you don't want to be on the line for your opponent, be on the line with your opponent for too long. So he makes the decision, okay, I'm not going to fight him here. He didn't throw a punch, so the timing that I had on the counter, because it didn't come right away, is going to be flawed. Now Mayweather's only going to be basically in position to get controlled by his opponent, right? If you stand in front of your opponent on the line and you allow them to control you by feinting you later. Whereas if they meet you on the line, you can predict what they're going to do based on what position they meet you on the line in, right? So anyway, so Jose Luis Castillo meets him on the line, doesn't give his position up, and Mayweather has to make a decision. Okay, I got feinted. I thought he was going to jab, and then he has to move off the line, right? Because at that point, Jose Luis Castillo is going to be controlling him as he gets back into his normal position. But anyway, now Mayweather shooting the jab, right? And so you look at the position that Jose Luis Castillo looks to put himself in, right? On the back foot. Now, he's not turning, right? But his weight moves to the back foot, right? This is the difference between leaning back, right? Going straight back and slipping, right? So he's not slipping here. He's just kind of pulling away from it, right? Shortcutting the motion, right? And the one of the reasons why you don't want to do that is because then you wind up walking or getting walked into shots like this, right? Where then you wind up on the back foot, but you're not turning away, and you get walked into a right hand. Again, because you're not really, I don't want to say rolling, but you're not changing positions in spite of the fact that you're changing where your weight is going to be, right? Or you're supposed to be, right? So he's going from the front foot to the back foot, but his position is staying like he's on the front foot, right? And I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but if you guys are fighters and if you've been following my channel and you've been watching my videos, the concepts that I'm talking about, that's exactly kind of what happens, right? It's kind of the syndrome of when you're in your neutral position and your opponent gets on the front foot and they shoot the jab and you catch it. And they shoot the jab and you catch it. And then they shoot the left hook and you look to go catch it and you realize really late that it's a left hook, and you still go to catch the jab by putting your hand out, but you pull your head back, right? So you're kind of in two positions at once. So either you're going to catch the hook on your glove when you pull into the position, right? Deep into position one, and you get your right hand up, and then come back with your own left hook or whatever, right? Or you're going to just roll the hook, right? But see how that's like a very common That's a very common problem, not having your weight in the correct position for the movement that you're trying to make, right? And that's kind of what happens to Jose Luis Castillo here. And we'll see if it winds up happening later and he winds up getting paid for it. But that's the kind of the concept there. Ooh, and good work here. Now, this is the work. This is the reason why that's bad, right? So because he doesn't pull into this shot, right? Even though he counters him with that jab, he's not able to hit him with that right hand because he's not transferring his weight to the back foot. Now, let's see. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. I wish I could see his feet, but I really think that the reason he's not landing that shot is because he's not transferring his weight to position 2 properly from this jab, right? Getting his weight on the back foot before he throws it. So that's what I think. So we'll look for that as a common theme. As a common theme in his positioning, how well he transfers his weight to the back foot. Not too bad right there as he makes that little roll. But I suspect that that's going to be a common problem. But I don't know. He looks... Ooh, that was really clever. Ooh. Ooh. Good work there. So coming forward, right? Now this is the problem, right? So what I was talking about earlier. Now Mayweather has this problem sometimes where if he thinks he knows how you're going to meet him on the line or what you're thinking, right? He'll try to anticipate that, which is not bad, right? That's what you're supposed to do, right? But he gets to the point sometimes where he stops asking you questions about it, right? So he gets feinted here, right? Or he blocks the jab correctly, right? Maybe he was hoping for a jab upstairs so he could pull counter it, right? But he doesn't really expect to be in this position and for Jose Luis Castillo to be in this position, right? And then almost gets caught with this uppercut, right? Now, I'm not saying that that makes him a bad fighter. I'm not saying that, that's why, whatever. There's nothing to project there, right? Nothing to say, hey, this is what I'm highlighting, right? All that I'm saying is that's a very common flaw that a lot of fighters have, right? And it's very important to see that, oh yeah, even Mayweather makes that mistake, right? Be honest about it so that you can anticipate your opponent's positions better, right? And the way you want to do that is by feinting and probing, right? Changing positions, right? But look at how Mayweather is he's struggling here. I'm not sure. I don't want to say he's struggling. He's catching the shot. Maybe he's waiting for the attacks from Castillo. But notice he's not really using any feinting. He's not looking to really control Castillo. As you can see, Castillo can move his head wherever he wants it. He can slip to the inside, right? He can feint. He can change levels, right? He can't land a punch, right? But the idea here is just that Mayweather's not landing. Okay, there you go. Well, let's see what he's doing here. So, Jose Luis Castillo, front, back, front, right? Back, front, and Mayweather looks to shoot him with the right hand, right? So on the same timing, the front, back, right? The shoulder feint timing, I guess, so I think Sugar Ray Robinson, someone was saying Sugar Ray Robinson says that the shoulder feint is the most important move in boxing. I couldn't agree more, right? The whole idea of having a shoulder feint implies an active guard, and that one little idea, right, the shoulder feint, encapsulates a large part of the economy of your boxing punches and defense, right? Think about that idea. It's fascinating. But Mayweather playing off of that, right? Not really setting his shot up, right? Where he's here, right? There's no feint or probe, getting Jose Luis Castillo out of position. So Jose Luis Castillo gets to go first, right? Maybe he wanted to feint here and throw a left hook. Maybe he wanted to feint here and throw a right hand, right? I'm not sure. Maybe he just wanted to feint there and then get punched in the face with a right hand by Mayweather. But again, feinting, right? Or not feinting, using that shoulder feint timing to trap Jose Luis Castillo's weight, right? I guess I'll say it like that. So front, back, right? And then looking to attack him. But because Jose Luis Castillo is seeing that he's timing him there. He's looking to bait that stuff now, right? And not get on the front foot and not allow Mayweather to time those shots on him. So that's going to change the fight for Mayweather drastically. And I guess we'll have to continue watching to see how. Now, again, Mayweather's not getting to choose the position that his opponent attacks him in, right? Now, the reason this is an important idea is because that's the whole reason you want to control your opponent, right? You want to control their lead hand, right? And their lead hand is the one that's closest to you, right? If your opponent's fighting you, like on the front foot, but completely in position one, right? They might be feinting and probing with their right hand so they can set up a left hook, right? They might be able to jab you or probe you with either hand if they're so far on the front foot, right? That they can use either hand to set up punches. That's super dangerous, you guys. Super, super dangerous. But if you're not controlling your opponent's hands, you're not feinting, you're not limiting the positions that you allow your opponent to get into, they can put you in positions like this where you don't really have control over how the next sequence of weight transitions goes, right? Now, Mayweather's doing a good job of tying him up and mitigating that, right? But let's say if you're a fighter in the ring and you don't understand what Mayweather knows in this position, right? Get under him, tie up that left arm, right? Get your arm on his body, right? This is very, very, very important to get this underhook, right? Because he cannot hit you with the right hand here, right? And especially if you're leaning over like Mayweather's doing on the back foot, you're going to kind of pull his weight off of the back foot so that you won't be able to get any power in the right hand, right? But he won't be able to get his weight off of his left foot, right? See how he's struggling and how Jose Luis Castillo is moving to the left, right? Mayweather's directing his weight that way to manipulate him so that he can't actually throw any punches. So, FYI, if you guys are fighting like this, right, allowing people to do this, but you don't know how to do this, you're going to have much less success than Mayweather does. And it might just be because of this little tactical part, right? Because to be honest, you don't really clinch that much in sparring, do you? Right? You usually just let them punch you in the face, and then you're like, okay, this strategy is not working for me, right? But anyway, Jose Luis Castillo getting on the front foot, right? And look at how he gets all the way on the front, right? Well, first, coming forward, catches with his left hand, catch with his right hand, catch with his left, catch with his right? He gets feinted, right? So he's being controlled. It's working, right? Mayweather is able to isolate his line because Jose Luis Castillo is worried about getting himself into that position, right? See how he's anticipating it? But Mayweather's still not really setting offense up off of it, right? He's still looking to fight off of that position, right? So now, following him back, right? He already showed that trick to Jose Luis Castillo twice. So Mayweather using that old data, right? And Jose Luis Castillo making an adjustment. So really good there. But let's continue to see where Jose Luis Castillo makes an adjustment now that Mayweather's not following him back with the jab with those free punches. So again, shoulder feint timing, right? Trying to isolate him from his shoulder feints or isolate him from his active guard or isolate him from that position so he can't set up his punches. Getting into position, right? Look at what the position he meets him on the line with, right? Boom, right? Feints him, controls him a little bit with that lead hand, and then gets off the line, right? Gets on the line, controls him, and then gets feinted off the line, right? Now they're going to have a new engagement, right? One where Mayweather's like, okay, yeah, I didn't like where that one was going. Now, I always like this from Mayweather. Just vicious, right? Oh, he's bouncing. Oh, that's, anytime you're in the ring with Mayweather, that's your ass, right? So even though, Jose Luis Castillo's like, I thought we were just chilling for a second. I guess in his mind that's like, hey, I need a chance to think. Give me a second to think. And Mayweather's like, nah, bro, no time to think in here. Starts attacking him. But, vicious strategist, right? And especially if one of your biggest attributes, right, is that you're able to process information so much faster than your opponents because you understand, Mayweather understands positioning really well, right? I think if you guys are interested, Mayweather Sr. has really, really good technical knowledge of positioning and boxing. That's why he's like, 1,000 years old and he's still ripped, right? That guy's jacked because he has fantastic posture. He has really, really good technique. But anyway, yeah, that's where Mayweather gets it, right? And it's absolutely perfect. I mean, he could work on I think in the, Mayweather has brittle hands or whatever. I think it always just came down to a little bit of his punch technique. Ooh, clever right here, right? Get to the front foot, feinting to the right leg, the left, the right, the left, and then shooting that shot, right? Really clever. I love the weight transition, right? But again, you only using the shoulder feints to set these shots up, right? Whenever his shoulder feint lines up with Jose Luis Castillo getting on the front foot, right, it gives him an opportunity to attack, right? And that's looking like Jose Luis Castillo's opportunity for himself to want to look to attack as well. Sorry if I'm kind of all over the place, by the way. Yeah, just a lot going on with the boxing world right now. So, and a lot of stuff interesting about this fight, because I haven't even started talking about the scores yet, right? But we're going to start watching it a little bit quicker. So again, right, same motion. Jose Luis Castillo making it to the front foot, right? Boom, getting feinted, right? Whoop, right? But he's looking to time him again on that front foot and set that shot up. I think that's what he does here too. Yeah, just timing him on that front foot. Now look at the position that Jose Luis Castillo is finding himself in more often than not, right? On the back foot, right? Again, Mayweather is going to be continuing to isolate Jose Luis Castillo from his line, right? See how he goes there? Now he can't even be in this position. He's getting attacked. Look at how defensive this position too is, right? When are you ever seeing Jose Luis Castillo here, right? All the way on the back foot. Never, right? So he's going to continue to put pressure on that and attack Jose Luis Castillo when he opens his line up there. When he gets so far on the front foot, and I think this is a foot thing. I don't remember too clearly. I think their feet. Oh, yeah. No. I don't know. I think they show it later. I'm not sure if he lands the punch. I think he does land the punch, though. No, I don't know. Maybe it's a left. I don't know. They'll show it in the replay at the end of the round, but, obviously I don't think it's like a knockdown, right? Okay, Mayweather in Southpaw, because he's a genius and he's struggling so much with the shoulder feints in position in his orthodox stance, right? Because Jose Luis Castillo knows when he's going to get attacked, right? So he moves into Southpaw stance and looks to control position one, right? Control position one on Jose Luis Castillo with the hook, right? Boom, right? But all these feints are to stop Jose Luis Castillo from getting into the front foot, right? That's essentially what you're looking to do as a southpaw. Again, it winds up being exactly the same whether you're left-handed or right-handed. You want to alienate your opponent's position because when you're standing in front of each other, it only ever looks one way, right? It only ever looks one way, and it looks the same, right? So you have to figure out how to make your area of view better than your opponent's, right? On the line. I guess that's like an interesting way to say that, right? But you looking to beat them on the line, right? And that's one of the things that Mayweather was kind of most guilty of, right? Is wanting to beat his opponents on the line rather than just let them try to beat him, right? I don't know if that makes sense. But like when you're the aggressive fighter, right? You're the one opening engagements, right? You're the one that starts the sequence of weight transfers, right? You're the one that's setting the tone, right? Feint, slip, hook, right? Right hand, slip, left hook, right? You're the one that starts it, and your opponent has to pick the dance moves for your set of sequences perfectly, right? You have to pick the perfect one for them too, because if you don't know what they're going to do, they're going to knock you out with their counterpunch, right? So you have to narrow it down by asking them questions. But Mayweather likes to, bait the pull counter, because when your opponent's on position 1, usually it's going to be the jab that you're going to throw, right? You're not going to just out of the blue throw an overhand right at your opponent, right? So you throw the jab. So Mayweather's baiting the jab, and he's saying, okay, more than likely they're not going to take a step forward again. They're going to shoot the jab and get me out of this really dominant position, right? Especially because it does look vulnerable, right, on the outside. But when your opponent's coming back with Mayweather pull counters, right, does it really look that vulnerable? How often is Jose Luis Castillo going to attack that position after he gets hit with a couple of these? Now, he does a good job of blocking it, right? Shooting his jab, pull countering with his own jab, right? And looking to attack Mayweather. Ooh. I don't want to go back and see whose head got hit, but I think they're fine. They're okay. But anyway, that's my only like real criticism of Mayweather. It's just that he didn't do as much. Again, this is dangerous, right? He looks to control him there, but because he doesn't, he almost gets knocked around by this left hook, right? Now, what happens here, again, because Mayweather's not really controlling him, right? He gets feinted here, right, by this jab as Jose Luis Castillo pulls his weight to the back foot so he can throw this hook. What? So back foot, front foot, back foot, front foot to the hook, right? So he sets this weight transition up, right, where he's shooting the jab but moving his head off the line so Mayweather can't counter him, right? And Mayweather thinks that's the punch that he's beating, right? Because that's what he shot here, right, with the pull counter. Wait, where's that pull counter at? Oh, yeah, it's all the way back here. Right? Because that's what Jose Luis Castillo shot here when the pull counter came, right? But see how Jose Luis Castillo is pulling his own pull counter, right? That's exactly what happens here. That's exactly what happens here. Jose Luis Castillo shoots the jab to bait the counter from Mayweather, and he's already setting up the counter to the counter, right? So, again, that's what kind of one of the things that happens when you wind up letting your opponent go first, is they're able to set traps for you, right? Because Mayweather has told Jose Luis Castillo, you know, how many times is he going to use that pull counter, or is he going to use that technique, or is he going to put himself in that sequence of weight transfers, move himself in the ring in those positions. Now, I'm not sure if he's just like killing time, or he's just like waiting for his next beat of inspiration. But Jose Luis Castillo came to fight, so he's there to throw punches, you know. So, actually, yeah, and who do you guys think is winning this round too, right? Because this actually has not been a bad round for Jose Luis Castillo, right? So the jab comes, and Mayweather, right, likes to beat you at your game, right? So Jose Luis Castillo's shooting the jab, and Mayweather's looking to counter that jab. Well, Jose Luis Castillo's already on to the next punch. Now, it does look like, actually, like on third watch, that Mayweather actually wins this engagement with the hook right here, right? But I didn't actually see that in real time at all, like not even close. So shoots that jab, and look at how Mayweather had been having that kind of bad habit of going from the back foot to the front foot through his jab, right? So see how he ends that jab and his weight's on the front foot? Well, he pulls it back and gets away from the right hand, the overhand right that Jose Luis Castillo's throwing, and then is able to come back with a left hook at the same time, attacking Jose Luis Castillo on the front foot. Really, really clever, actually. Really good shot. So maybe that is Mayweather building up on the layers of craft there with those attacks. But usually, I don't see Mayweather getting that deep in his craft. You know, it usually winds up that so much of the fight isn't even fought in the center of the ring. It's fought in the clinch, right? But, you know, Mayweather, I guess, still young here, not looking to do that. So, Jose Luis Castillo here, coming forward, front, back, front, gets controlled, back, comes forward, gets controlled, and still coming forward. I can't even tell if Mayweather lands that shot, right? But it looks like he does. It looks like he does like a really good job too, right? So front, gets feinted, and then he knows that Jose Luis Castillo is going to shuffle forward and his head's going to get stuck there, right? Because he feints him and blocks his weight transfer, right? So Jose Luis Castillo can only use that motion to come forward and is able to catch him with that shot. It's kind of like in between where he would throw a right hand too. So it's really good positional work from Mayweather. But even though it's like a hook, and I think it lands, it's not really the kind of like a damaging blow. It's more like a control you, get your guard up so I can move off the line kind of attack. Ooh, mean uppercut right here. So getting feinted, right? Ooh, and then coming back with the hook, right? Now, he doesn't really land it super clean on the chin, right? And let's see. So he shoots that, goes from position 1 to position 2, and then he's shooting the right hand. And it looks like he doesn't shoot his hand. Ooh. I'm not sure if Mayweather just missed. If it's because he got hit. That's probably it. Maybe he gets hit here, and then it blocks his weight transfer, and that's what stops him from getting his glove into the right position. But let's see. Again, right, when you're going second, you don't get to choose, right, how the next weight transition goes, right? So Mayweather gets baited into reacting to this first one, right? Now, again, I'm not sure if he was just expecting Jose Luis Castillo's head to be on the front leg because he was going to slip there, or he knew that the right hand was coming. So let's take a look, right? Let's see what Mayweather does after Jose Luis Castillo shoots a jab at him. Looks like he takes a step back. Wait. But here, where was that shot at? Oh, no. Sorry. I was looking at the wrong one. Sorry, guys. I think I went too far back. But anyway, it does look like he does anticipate Jose Luis Castillo throwing that right hand. And that's why he throws the uppercut. Because Jose Luis Castillo was shooting the right hand after, right? So I'm not sure. I think it's because Mayweather gets caught with the shot first. That's why he misses that timing. But it was a really good shot. Either way. But again, you want to be the one going first, right? Not going first, but asking your opponent to go first. And that's kind of why Mayweather gets kind of walked into that shot, in my opinion. Because he's going, at Jose Luis Castillo's rhythm. Again, great work from Jose Luis Castillo, right? Active guard, moving, right? When the jab does come, because he's already transitioning his weight, he's already moving to the next position constantly, he doesn't find himself really out of position when he slips the jab because he's been slipping to that position all night already, right? It's one of his go-to moves. And if you're a fighter, you guys, it should be one of your go-to moves as well. Ooh. Jose Luis Castillo hitting him with his own timing, right? Catching Mayweather when he gets to the line too, right? Easy stuff. Boom. Good work from Jose Luis Castillo, knowing that he's going to wind up on the front foot, right? And getting away from that hook as he rolls with it. Man, good positioning from both guys, actually. Really good stuff. Well, Mayweather comes out, immediately says, okay, let's get to work, buddy. Trying to land a big right hand. And Jose Luis Castillo doing a good job of feinting, right? Slipping, moving off the line, right? Threatening Mayweather's positions, right? Without punching, without exposing himself, right? Without preventing himself from being able to block a punch or slip a punch or catch a punch, right? And he's able to get into all these positions all the way up until he gets here and then gets kind of countered, right? Kinda, right? Mayweather controls his head a little bit with that shot. Oh, actually, is he throwing that right hand to the body? I'm not even sure. But number one, Mayweather recognizing when the ring gets cut off on him, right? That's exactly what Jose Luis Castillo is doing here, right? Completely cuts the ring off on him. Mayweather is exposed. He's all squared up. Mayweather has to control him and hope to get off the ropes, right? So good job from Jose Luis Castillo being able to cut the ring off and expose Mayweather's moves or his weight transitions, right? But he just wasn't able to make anything out of it, right? Mayweather's still, for the most part, doing enough well that Jose Luis Castillo can't land a shot. Now, Mayweather not using the pull counter here, right? But this is like prime time real estate for the pull counter, right? It's not exactly what he's looking to set up. So maybe Mayweather worried that those right hands come really quickly from Jose Luis Castillo, so he wants to use that pull counter a little less frequently. Going to the jab to the body, right? Really digging that shot in there too. And again, when Jose Luis Castillo, right, front foot, it looks like he's following him to the back foot, or was he supposed to go to the front foot there? I'm not sure. But either way, Mayweather making sure that Jose Luis Castillo is not on the front foot in position to attack him and counter when that shot comes. I agree, ref. I think that's Vic Draculich. I'm not sure. Dude, that guy is so tall. So, again, Mayweather not pull countering, right? So how is he looking to defend this position on the front foot, right? Usually he defends it with the pull counter, right? But as Jose Luis Castillo has shown that Mayweather, I don't know if he's not fast enough or, what it is for him or his timing is just off, whatever it is going on with Mayweather, his pull counter is just not enough right now, right? So he's not using it. And what's that gonna do, right? Well, because the pull counter is how Mayweather used to control the space when he's on that front foot, he's going to have to start giving that position up, right? So exactly what Mayweather was doing to Jose Luis Castillo in the first round is going to wind up being what happens to Mayweather in the third round, right? So now Mayweather's getting in that front foot. As Jose Luis Castillo comes forward, looks to feint, control him, shuffle forward, right? Mayweather doing a good job of controlling him, pushing off away from the right hand, right? Should he be pushing as much? Probably not. Should he be taking any right hands? Definitely not. So again, Jose Luis Castillo coming forward, getting timed on the front foot, right? But notice, Mayweather's not making anything out of that opportunity, right? It was only basically to control him off the front foot. And then Jose Luis Castillo catches him, with a similar shot, right? I'm not sure if Jose Luis Castillo's lands or if it misses, right? But the idea is very similar. Again, the same attack, just looking to control the space, not really looking to set a punch up or control Jose Luis Castillo, right? I mean, in theory, he is trying to control him by isolating his line, right? But he's not controlling his arms, his hands. He's not really controlling his weight, right? While he's on the quest to control his line. Getting on the front foot. Mayweather trying to control him there. That was good work. And then all of a sudden, completely out of position, right? And again, this is because Mayweather's not using his hands, right? He's not feinting as much, right? He relies so much on that shoulder feint that once his opponents are able to pick up on it, or if they're like experienced, right? Because this guy was, and we can talk a little bit about the Lomachenko comparisons, right? Some people say like that Lomachenko losing to Salido and Salido being such a bad fighter meant that Lomachenko could never be a great fighter because he lost to Salido, right? But I think Salido in the Lomachenko fight is a better fighter than Jose Luis Castillo is in the Mayweather fight. Right? Am I crazy for saying that? I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think that Jose Luis Castillo is doing a decent job here, right? But he's also on the path of using only shoulder feints, right? Not using right hands or probes, right? He's not really feinting that much, right? It's mostly shoulder feints that he's using to shoulder feints and punches that he's using to isolate Mayweather's line, right? Again, he's got the active guard. He's got the first layer going really well, right? The most important layer. Because look at, if you're decent at that, decent enough, you can give Mayweather trouble with a good shoulder feint game, right? But in order to be like an A-level fighter or a B-level fighter, you have to have a little bit more than that, right? A little bit more control over your opponent, right? A little less opportunities for your opponent to set shots up on you, to land big shots and to do good work on you. Like, this is actually like a great round for Jose Luis Castillo, right? Catching him with that shot, not really turning into it, but, you know, decent technique. He's able to get that shot out of there. Now, maybe Jose Luis Castillo's not that good at getting his weight on the back foot. I'm not sure. But decent feint here, right? Getting controlled. And then Jose Luis Castillo controls him to the body, right? And then looks to set up that overhand right. Oh, just kidding. Comes in with the left hook, right? Not landing great shots. Not really walking Mayweather into shots. I'm not sure if he lands a shot here. One. It looks like it kind of touches him. Not a hard shot, right? But Jose Luis Castillo's not doing that much either, right? Even though it looks like he's doing a lot. Let's see. What goes on here? Feinting, controlling the space, pull counter with the jab. Very dangerous again, you guys, right? Pull counter with the jab, get your weight on the front foot, and then almost gets caught, right? Now, inches are miles, right? Inches are miles, so maybe he has complete control over it, right? And this was never any danger, but man, in real time, does it look scary. Whew. But does he pull counter him twice there? He does pull counter him twice. Okay, so perfect control there. No danger. Don't listen to me. But again, the same timing, right? See how he just opens up out of his guard, right? There's not a left hand feint. It's all just on that timing of his opponent, making it to the front foot there, right? Trying to catch Jose Luis Castillo, like in theory, in transition, right? Ooh. But Jose Luis Castillo, right, with this head movement, right, simply by changing positions, right, he's able to put so much pressure on Mayweather that he can eventually find himself in position to almost score on him, right? Now, that sounds stupid, right? Almost score. But that feels pretty good against someone who's considered one of the greatest fighters of all time, right? If you think about that idea. We're probably supposed to look at some other in-between round stuff, but anyway, let's keep watching, see how the fight goes. Now, let's see, what kind of jab is this? Front, back. So it looks like he's shooting this jab, but look where his weight is when he lands it, right? This is not my favorite kind of jab. I always like to be bringing my weight back to the back foot when I jab. So we'll see if Jose Luis Castillo, now that the tempo of the fight is slowing down a little bit and they're going to box a little bit more, if Jose Luis Castillo will start countering. So, again, Jose Luis Castillo getting on the front foot, right? Front foot, back foot, right? And then Jose Luis Castillo goes to the back foot, to the front foot, and Mayweather attacks him on the next weight transition, right? Now, this idea is really important too, because essentially what Mayweather is doing here is linking these motions here, right? He's putting pressure on the technical aspect of your game, right? Because even though these are separate engagements, right? Meeting on the line, now they're off the line. Meeting on the line, now they're off the line. Even though they're different, Mayweather is linking them by putting that pressure, by not having any gap in between them, or that punch where you meet on the line. You know how you might meet someone on the line, feint, and then move off, right? But by meeting on the line, boom, and attacking him, and boom, and attacking him on that front foot, he wants to continue to send that signal to Jose Luis Castillo that you cannot be on the front foot. Because, see, he wants to be on the front foot. He wants to get to the front foot here, right, and start baiting that pull counter, right? Now, it's even more effective when your opponent is shooting that shot from the back foot, right? See how Jose Luis Castillo's head gets stuck there? Now, Jose Luis Castillo does a good job of ducking, right? But his head wasn't going anywhere else. But again, that's one of the things that Mayweather is looking to do, right? Isolate you from your line to make it easier for him to beat you up, right? And that's, again, what Jose Luis Castillo wants to do as well. But usually when you have a good fighter, they only need to isolate you into that position for so long before they land a knockout punch. Ooh, good work there, right? Establishes himself in that position, right? And then comes over. Now, Jose Luis Castillo does a good job of blocking that shot, right? With a good cross block, right? But look at the position that Mayweather is in, right? All the way on the front foot, and Jose Luis Castillo is all the way on the back foot, right? This is kind of the ebb and flow of all fights, right? Now, when Jose Luis Castillo gets to the front foot, Mayweather will be on the back foot, right? In theory, right? Except that's why you punch each other in the face, is because, well, spoiler alert, you don't want to give up your position, right? Maybe you worked hard for it, right? Not always do you want to have to work for that position again, right? But sometimes you got to move off the line because you're not really in the best position to defend yourself, right? Let alone offend your opponent. Not even close there, Jose Luis Castillo. Come on, man. No wonder the thing you're most famous for is getting knocked out by Diego Corrales. You notice that? Isn't that like what people most know him for? Like, everyone knows that he quote-unquote beat Mayweather, right, in this fight. But most people know him as the guy that Diego Corrales knocked out, right? Like, can you imagine, like, having a sparring partner beat you on your resume, right? Isn't that what Jose Luis Castillo was? He was just some guy's sparring partner for a long time? Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.'s? Or Julio Cesar Chavez Sr.'s sparring partner? So, right hand, right? Jose Luis Castillo on the front foot. Mayweather on the back foot. But look at this. Boom. Mayweather throws a left hook with his weight transition to the back foot, right? Right? Think about this idea, you guys. He goes from the front foot to the back foot, getting away from a right hand, with a left hook. And Jose Luis Castillo does it with a cross block, right? Think about that idea. The motion, right? The motion here, boop, is exactly the same. Where is that shot at? Throw that right hand at this boy. Come on, throw that right hand. Where are you at? I think I missed it. I think it's way back there. I don't know. I was talking through it all, so I missed all this fighting, actually, so it's cool. Ooh, catch him on the line, right? Staying on the line. Boom. Where's that right hand at? I think he is all the way back here. Oh, is it right here? Boom. So see the position that they're in, right? It's exactly the same, right? Their body mechanics work exactly the same, whether you're Floyd Mayweather or you're Jose Luis Castillo, right? Your body mechanics work exactly the same, right? Pew. But anyway, moving on. We'll watch another round. Well, I'm not sure how many more rounds we'll watch, but we'll watch a couple. But yeah, it is really interesting though, right? To kind of go back and watch these kind of fights and talk about like who's winning or who's not, or who did win and who didn't, because a lot of people recognized Mayweather as, being a potential all-time great pound-for-pound star, right? Really early on in his career. So, there is the idea that, yeah, he might get a gift decision, right? But it's also fascinating, I mean, I know a lot of people think that that Pacquiao beat Mayweather too. I'm not convinced of that. But to be honest, watching it live, I thought that Mayweather won. So, but there are a lot of people that think that he lost that fight and that he lost I think there are people that thought he lost to Cotto. I don't know. I wouldn't agree with that either, but actually, I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, but to think about that they quote unquote lost that fight, or they did this or that or whatever, but they can still be, considered by so many in boxing to be, one of the greatest of all times, right? I guess it's fascinating. I paid a lot of attention to boxing, right? I'm still really excited to see Canelo, because they say he's only got one loss on his record, even though I think he lost a bunch of fights, right? I'm not sure if that part plays a big role in it either. But yeah, I wonder if we would have thought Mayweather wasn't as exciting as he was, or been as interested in watching him and the development of his career, had he taken a loss to Jose Luis Castillo here, right? I wonder who he would be if he would have, right? Who he could have turned into, or if he would have quit, or, definitely not quit, I don't think, but, especially since he rematched him immediately and soundly defeated him. It was clinical, right? Right, but it is interesting to notice a little bit of control here from Mayweather, right? Notice he's probing, right, with his right hand, right? Controlling him with his right hand, because his weight is on the front foot right now, right? Oh, now he's fighting Southpaw. I wonder if he hurt his hand. I don't remember if he hurt his hand here. I know he had been having problems here. Ooh, really clear shot right here. Controls him, right? Now, what happens here is he's controlling him, right? And Jose Luis Castillo goes to position 1, to position 2, and then he has no place else to go because his weight's already on his back foot and he's being controlled. So he tries to bring his weight to the front foot. Mayweather times him with a really good left hook right here, or left uppercut thing. Yeah, but fascinating. I wonder what happened, why Mayweather is trying to be Southpaw. I know that he's been having trouble, right, isolating Jose Luis Castillo's line, because Jose Luis Castillo's nah, I don't need that line anyway, right? He can just come in with this head movement, right? Boom, boom, and just move around and stop Mayweather from being able to land punches on him, right? So it doesn't even do Mayweather any good to have control of that space if he wanted it, right? Because he's not feinting to set those weight transitions up, right? He's mostly looking to let the shoulder feint set up his shots. See how he gets feinted here, right? Right? Feinted with the right hand there, and then almost gets hit with it, right? I know, almost is horseshoes and hand grenades, right? But it's very important that you feint your opponent, right? But anyway, Jose Luis Castillo not feinting either, right? And it's important to understand that. Even though he's doing a good job of moving his weight around and he's using his active guard, he's not actually instituting any control over Mayweather. But he's still giving Mayweather fits, right? He's still very disruptive to Mayweather and what Mayweather's looking to accomplish, right? And Jose Luis Castillo, to be honest, it doesn't even really look like he's doing anything, right? He gets tied up every time he gets on the inside. Maybe he lands a jab, but he's not really landing any shots though, right? Now, I remember when I watched this fight live, I completely thought in my mind that Mayweather won the fight. I thought he dominated every aspect of the fight, and I didn't give Jose Luis Castillo the credit I think that he deserves later in the fight and in the middle of the fight for landing body shots or getting Mayweather on the ropes, you know. I was just like, Mayweather could do whatever he wants from this position. Jose Luis Castillo's only getting this because Mayweather is letting him, right? And it kind of didn't occur to me that that Mayweather was having trouble containing Jose Luis Castillo's line, right? See how he's not able to land these jabs? Oh, look at that. A pull counter from him, right? In round 5. There we go. Now, I'm not sure if I missed any other ones or not, so maybe if you guys let me know. But Jose Luis Castillo finally looking to set up some counters in the ring. Maybe he's thrown a few. Ooh, was that a straight right hand like perfectly there? Oh, almost. So, again, very common theme, right? Jose Luis Castillo is going from the back foot to the front foot. Mayweather is on the front foot going to the back foot, right? Whoop. And then pull counters, right? With his own left hand. But, again, that tug and pull between your weight transition, where your weight is in relation to where your opponent's weight is, right? But it is really interesting because do we think that Jose Luis Castillo really landed that many shots, right? I mean, those two body shots right there look pretty decent, right? But I don't know. I know that like the second and the third round didn't look so great for Mayweather. I do think there were a decent amount of great control right there of Jose Luis Castillo's head, by the way, right? Boom, misses that shot, controls his head, right? And then boom, lands a great shot. Now, again, let's talk about make two punches sound like one, right? Make two punches sound like one. Turn them out, right? And then when you finish your weight transition there, you're going to throw your next shot, right? Because it's boom, boom. Boom, and then into the shot, right? But anyway, Mayweather, again, having a difficult time controlling Jose Luis Castillo, right? Because the fact that he does it with punches usually, right? And not feints and probes, and he uses, punches and shoulder feints, right? So it becomes more difficult to control your opponent, especially when your biggest attribute usually is your timing. People misrepresent that as your speed, right? But you have good timing and you have good technique, so you're sharp, right? Think Shane Mosley. That guy's ridiculously sharp, right, in his technique. But finding someone who's not being beaten, right? Because Jose Luis Castillo looks like he understands positioning pretty well too, right? In spite of the fact that he's not like a super freak athlete running pull counters on your opponent every time, right? Right? He's a straight up and down 1, 2, 3 kind of fighter. He's still giving Mayweather a lot of problems, right? I don't know where I was going with that, so I hope that's the point I was trying to make. Good work there. So again, getting to the front foot, right? Getting to the front foot, dangerous position for your opponent because you can throw so many more punches. He almost sneaks that right hand over the top. Ooh. Now, Jose Luis Castillo really on his game right now with this pull counter, right? Baiting the jab. I think he kind of takes that jab and then pull counters, right? So now, even if Mayweather is landing the jab, if Jose Luis Castillo is able to continue shooting right hands, in spite of the fact that he keeps getting hit by it, it's going to discourage Mayweather from using the jab to control Jose Luis Castillo's line because it's not doing anything, right? It's still allowing Jose Luis Castillo to cross the line, right? Right hand right there. Jose Luis Castillo says, I don't care, and continues to cross his head over the line and land his own right hand, right? Bum, bum, bum. Let's see. Mayweather having a hard time maybe getting that underhook on the right side. Very dangerous. Shooting the jab, leaning onto the front foot, right? I know he's looking to control that space after, but... Ooh. Timing him on his weight again. Right? And this You know, this idea here, if you time it, however, how many times in each engagement Mayweather does that, it's so often that it feels like that's maybe just a trick for him to cut more time out of the round, right? Let's see if he does it again here. No, not quite. But yeah, Mayweather having a lot of trouble all of a sudden in the 6th round. So let's see. Actually, let's go back 1 minute if you guys don't mind and kind of see what happens. So does he get hit with that right hand? Is that what happens? So again, one thing I do want to point out about Mayweather, right? A lot of people call this running, right? But he transitions his weight a lot, right? Front foot, back foot, front foot, back foot, front foot, right? Through the right hand, moving off the line, right? Trying to get away, but Jose Luis Castillo's holding him. Fair is fair, I don't know. But Mayweather spends a lot of time in the fights transitioning his weight, right? Moving from one foot to the other, punching, controlling his opponents, right? Transitioning his weight, right? Even when he's punching. Boom, boom. So he almost always has an active guard. Getting controlled here, almost getting hit by that right hand. God, what a rough fight for him. I wonder why he's not getting that underhook. I'm not sure. But I'm not sure if Mayweather is going to be getting tired or what. But it does look like his guard starts to slow down a little bit, right? As Jose Luis Castillo continues to put pressure on him, right? Continues to force him to transition his weight as well, right? To change positions. Mayweather looking to control the line again with punches, so he gets countered, right? Not feinting, not probing. He gets stuck on the front foot here and doesn't anticipate that his opponent's going to slip to the inside of him and throw a body shot here. I think Mayweather thinks, I think he catches on maybe just a second too late. And by then he has to just control Jose Luis Castillo so he doesn't get hit by another shot. But again, not really controlling the space, right? Not really doing a great job of controlling Jose Luis Castillo. In spite of the fact that Jose Luis Castillo isn't really using his shoulder fades super well to set up his punches, he isn't able to get into the best positions, right, to set up his punches. Still getting controlled a little bit, right? Ooh, that was a good shot there. Yeah, I'm not sure if the feint winds up looking like a jab. Oh, I think Jose Luis Castillo feints him and he throws his hook. Cool. Boom. And then there's Jose Luis Castillo's pull counter, right? Boom. Even though he eats the shot, he throws the right hand, right? Threatening Mayweather, right? Putting the pressure on him. Right? Now, that's something that Shane Mosley wasn't able to do, right? When we took a look yesterday on the at the Shane Mosley fight, even though he was getting countered, he had the opportunities to land his overhand right, but he wasn't taking them, right? Whereas Jose Luis Castillo, a real pro, not like a super athlete, but you know, he's a real pro. You know, he's been in a lot of tough fights. He's been beat up a lot. And this guy knows how to get his ass kicked, right? So he knows that even though he's getting hit, he has to keep throwing punches. Anyway, we'll watch, I guess we'll just keep going. But, you know, even though there's a lot of pressure, right? I don't know. I don't know how I would be scoring these rounds. Let's see what the score is right here. So Mayweather got the first two. I definitely know Castillo won the third round. I don't know. I guess I could see him winning 5 and 6, I guess. But I'm not super sure, right? I'm also not super sure who won the second round either, because I know that was the round that Castillo was looking to make his first adjustments, right? But now that he's got Mayweather's kind of timing, right, for those shoulder feints, and again, right, he's getting just as good as he's giving, right? Or he's giving just as good as he's getting, right? He's landing a lot of jabs on Mayweather. But, yeah, to be honest, I don't know. I'm not super interested in the score. Good work there. Pull counter, right? Jose Luis Castillo getting his pull counter on. Now, again, dangerous if you pull counter into a jab, right? Because then your weight's going from the back foot to the front foot, and you don't have your left hand up to protect the left side of your face, right? And your hand and your head is moving into your opponent's right hand, right? Very dangerous. But yeah, really, really interesting, right? And I wonder when it was, and this fight probably had a lot to do with Mayweather's growth as a fighter, because, yeah, you're going to grow the most when your opponent challenges you, right? When your opponent gives you new problems to solve and makes you rethink your whole fighting dynamic, right? Now, I don't know if that's what happened with Mayweather. Mayweather was kind of like this his whole career too. Very similar to this. I think it was after he retired that he stopped throwing as many right hands, right? Because he's really killing him on the power punches in this fight. I mean, he's still throwing a lot, I think. Maybe he's not. I don't know. It feels like there are. Maybe it's just because I see how often he gets to that front foot. Oh, there's a right hand there. No, I think he is throwing a decent amount. Ooh. Getting closer, right? And again, the more he does that, the more he may be able to find himself isolating Mayweather from his jab, right? And that'll give Mayweather only his right hand or his left hook to control the space. Now, if Castillo can't take any other punches away from him, he probably won't be able to take the jab away from him either, simply because of the flexibility. Ooh. Almost Castillo. But Mayweather, yeah, man, you can't push like that, bro. Ooh. Almost gets countered over the top. Yeah, I wonder if that's going to start paying dividends for Castillo ever. Again, right? Getting him on the front foot timing, but Castillo can see it coming. Good elbow to the face from Mayweather. Ooh. I'm not sure if Mayweather gets hit there. I think he gets hit here a little bit, yeah. And then not by the second punch, though. Man, that's fast, though. I guess Jose Luis Castillo is the only one that thinks he gets paid for overtime. All right, let's do one more round. Yeah, but it is interesting, though, right, to think about, Mayweather and his place in boxing, right? And then, people want to criticize Lomachenko for his place in boxing for losing to Salido, but we have Mayweather who, no offense to Jose Luis Castillo, but the guy's the thing he's most famous for. And yeah, man, I wouldn't let this guy punch me. I wouldn't want to fight him. He's a tough dude, right? But the thing he's most famous for was getting knocked out by Diego Corrales, right? One of the greatest, it was one of the greatest fights of all time, right? Maybe, like a lot of people's opinion, they think it was. It's so fun and fan-friendly to watch, right? A good fight to watch, right? I guess. But Mayweather, a lot of people think Mayweather lost this fight, And you can clearly see that there's, it's not that he doesn't have the talent, right, or the ability to do these things, right? It's the knowledge part and the confidence to really be controlling your opponent, right, without having to punch them, right? A little bit of control with the lead hand there, right? But a lot of punches, right? And we see how Jose Luis Castillo is able to bait attacks, right? And look at, he's even getting better at his pull counters, right? And this is going to mean that even when Mayweather is winning exchanges or or landing his jab, right? Let's say Jose Luis Castillo pull counters 50% of Mayweather's jabs, right? Right? Just 50%. That means that half of Mayweather's entire offense is in an exchange that he very likely lost, right? Half of his offense. So if Jose Luis Castillo is able to make any kind of offense for the rest of the fight, he's very likely winning it, right? But, you know, Mayweather's the greatest fighter of all time, and, you know, even though he's spending a lot of time controlling his opponent with punches, you know, people want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I do think that there's a definite, you know, demonstration of at least of growth throughout his career here, right? Because he doesn't end his career not having, again, control, and then again, you don't want to end your jabs on the front foot, right? Usually, any fighter coming up who fights Jose Luis Castillo and they make that mistake, he knocks them out, right? That's what you call a gatekeeper. They're really good at one thing, and then that one thing, they run every opponent through the meat grinder, right? So anyone who makes that flaw or has that flaw, he can beat that guy, right? So Mayweather makes that mistake of getting caught on the front foot, right? And then gatekeeper overhand right? Catches him with that shot, and Mayweather's got to wake up. But look at this. This is very, very interesting data, right? Again, because Mayweather doesn't feint and probe as much as he punches, he instills a confidence in Castillo for knowing that that shot is coming and allowing him to counter over it, right? So yeah, just like I was talking about, if this fight was supposed to get rough for Mayweather, it would have to be Castillo taking away Mayweather's jab, right? Either finding a way to isolate it or counter it, right? And if Mayweather was going to lose the fight, that would definitely mean that he would end the fight in the more defensive positions, right? See how when he used to be fighting Castillo, he'd be really far on the front foot, right? Now he's really on the back foot. He's not as square. He's much more sideways, looking to defend punches. I know Philly shell. I know. But if he can knock you out, he's not going to be doing that stuff, right? He's going to be knocking you out. So anytime that he's not knocking you out, it's because he can't, right? Think about that idea. But yeah, just a really, really interesting film study. And I haven't watched this fight in a really, really, really long time. So it's really cool to go back and kind of see it. Yeah, I think the only Mayweather fight that I've seen recently was the ones that I've been doing on my Patreon and my YouTube. But Diego Corrales, that's like one of my favorite fights. I would always go back and watch that and take a look and hang out. But, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I guess we'll just watch the rest of the fight. It's almost over. And I guess we can... I don't know who we're going to say won the fight, right? Trying to catch him on that front foot. Again, right? What happens when you move to the back foot, right? You're moving to the back foot, but you're blocking like you're on the front foot, right? And he gets exposed because he's trying to be into two positions at once, right? Mayweather looking to capitalize on that and again attack him on that front foot, right? Maybe create some more round time or eat up more of the clock, right? With his fancy attacks. Oh, but someone in the telecast says that that in the telecast of this fight, I think it's George Foreman, says that's why he has so many hand problems, because he throws these really flashy punches, right? He's not utilizing the boxing basics, right, enough to protect his hands, right, by throwing more conventional attacks or punches. And that's like an interesting idea too, because that kind of stuff is going to put a stress on your technique, because you have to expose a little bit of it to get into the right position to throw those shots. And again, coming back with the counter, right? Front foot, back foot, front foot, right? That's going to put a lot of pressure on Mayweather. Mayweather really doesn't want to be... It looks like Mayweather really doesn't want to be transitioning his weight in front of Castillo either. Now again, when you can't predict right, what your opponent's going to do, right, how do you set up the appropriate counter, right? He gets feinted up, feinted down, controlled here, and then attack to the body, right? A great little body shot right there. I actually thought Castillo landed a right hand there too, but he didn't. Ooh. Again, so much pressure, right? Forcing so many weight transitions on Mayweather, forcing Mayweather to change positions so often. That he's not able to, I don't know if he's not able to get into his rhythm or figure out what it is he wants to do. But a lot of these little motions kind of to kill the tempo and slow the fight down, right? Not really looking to set up and feint and get Castillo out of position. But a lot of this stuff, right, trying to shoot a shot and get to the inside, right, and eat the clock. You know, I'm not sure if he's expecting to win the fight like this, you know, on the scorecards. Oh, and also on my Patreon, guys, I'm taking a look at training videos, and I'll be posting training videos, and they're going to be posted in my Patreon for everyone to see. So when you send me your Patreon video, or you send me your training video, heavy bag or shadow boxing, I'm going to critique it and post it, and everyone will get to see, but you'll also get to see everyone else's training videos too, and see how I critique and talk about their techniques, and how that stuff all applies to your technique, because all the rules for everyone's technique are the same, right? So it's a really fascinating way to troubleshoot and cumulatively pool knowledge of boxing, right? But anyway, last night on the boxing stuff, you know, last night on Dragon Ball Z, we were talking about a guy who would get on the front foot and he would throw this hook right here, right? And he would pivot off the line. And I was telling him, hey, you want to do that, but practice those motions separately, right? That way you can pick and choose when you want power, when you want motion, when you want to combine them. And as you can see here, Mayweather throwing a hook here for power and then sliding off of the line, right? So you can kind of see that being demonstrated there, that you can go attack first and then a positional change and break down those motions even more. But yeah, an interesting fight, right? Mayweather showing some flaws, some inexperience. And the thing is having a crazy sparring partner like Jose Luis Castillo is extremely valuable because, yeah, if this guy is a sparring partner of Julio Cesar Chavez, that means he must get a lot of rounds, right? Because that guy had a lot of fights. Like, a lot, right? So, really, really interesting. Really, really seasoned, right? Jose Luis Castillo, like, I'm not saying he's a bad fighter. Really solid, right? Make two punches sound like one, right? Boom, boom, right? Mayweather's not there. Not surprising. But what is surprising is that he's not that great at setting his shots up, right? Even though he can move off the line really well, he's got good power. I believe he could hurt Mayweather with either punch, right? Really good work here from the front foot to the back foot to the front foot, slipping the jab into the right hand, right? Good counter again, right? And again, Mayweather having a really difficult time with his jab in this fight because Jose Luis Castillo was able to counter him like so many times, whether it be with his own jab or with the right hand, right? So Jose Luis Castillo doing a good job, but, you know, not really fighting Mayweather on like a super high level, right? Not that, like, you know, you don't have to be a really, really good fighter to beat Mayweather. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that Mayweather's offensive development here and defensive development here, he's not really controlling Jose Luis Castillo all that much, right? And look at the difference in the look of the fight, right? When he does control him, right? Really, really good work. He blocks him, right? Because Jose Luis Castillo is going to go from the back foot to the front foot to attack him with that left hand, right? But Mayweather controls his head and is able to swat him with the right hand. So why isn't Mayweather doing more stuff like that, right? Maybe you're asking yourself. Who the hell knows, man? I don't know. But they have it even on these cards. Oh, what? Oh, 9-9 round. I think someone was deducted a point in that round. I don't remember. I wasn't paying attention. How did I miss that? Oh, man. But yeah, Mayweather really should be feinting and probing at least a little bit, right? Because stuff like this is exactly what he needs to be doing, right? And I know he's waiting to the last second to do it, but he gets in the corner, feints him, and then is able to bait that weight transition, right? So he can attack that zone and then move off the line, right? Now, I think this is going to be the last round. This video is really long. You guys can go back and watch the last 2 rounds of your own. Especially because we're not really talking about who wins and who doesn't. But yeah, even though these guys are both, they're high level, these would be tough fights, for anybody, coming up. But this is like a very young Mayweather, right? And it is a really fascinating idea because if I went back and watched the Castillo fight with all the fouling and all that garbage and all that, I would expect actually that Castillo would be a better fighter than Jose Luis Castillo. He might not have as good a punch technique, right? And he might have the added advantage that he was freaking cheater, steroid cheat, right? Feinting, finally connecting with that left hook there. Maybe that turns the fight around. I'm not sure. But, Castillo, like a steroid cheat. You never lose that stuff. That advantage never goes away, right? But, and they know that he cheated, Like, I don't know. I don't really feel bad for the guy. But anyway. Yeah, it is a really interesting idea, right? For all the people that are like, oh, Mayweather's the greatest of all, right? But this fight is like not a great fight for him. Really not a great fight, right? A lot of challenges here in this fight, right? A lot of very even exchanges. And Jose Luis Castillo, not that good of a fighter. Pretty good, but not that good. He's all right. Okay, so Mayweather lost a point for the elbow. I don't think he needed to lose a point for the elbow. I think him just losing the round is enough, right? Like, think about that, right? What if instead of taking points from people, the judges were just like, oh, that was a foul, that was a foul, that was a foul, right? And every time you saw your opponent foul, it counted as a punch for your opponent, right? So then anything they land during that sequence doesn't count, but anything your opponent lands during that sequence and the foul also count, right? So fouling is extremely detrimental to the way that the rounds are scored, right? But they still don't have to be that impact. I guess that wouldn't work because then you'd have like, oh, that was a foul. Nope, Golovkin fouled Canelo like 30 times in that sequence in that round. There's no way he won it, right? So I guess that's stupid, but... Oh, maybe the referee should be able to call that. I don't know. But anyway, don't forget to check out my Patreon, guys. I'm doing a lot of cool stuff there. And soon, I'm going to be doing live Patreon stuff for patrons only. It will be the $10 patrons, so fighters only, fighters and trainers, and anyone who's interested in interacting and hanging out, And I'm not sure if I'll put those lessons online or not, but I'm also maybe looking to do like Patreon workouts where I can record my workout and you guys can follow along or whatever. I don't know. If you guys have any ideas on how you'd like to see that too, let me know. They'll probably be stupid, so I won't use them, but I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.